Hello, I'm Rory from ratemyfuneral.com. That was Rate, by the way. Welcome to this tutorial. Today we're going to play around with cars. I'm a bit of a lover of cars and that sort of thing, and yes, I like cars and driving cars. It's fun, yes. Although somewhat sport these days with the amount of traffic on the roads, but let's not get into that. Right, so first thing, really important news, I got a new chair. Look at that, I've left the old resistant to cigarettes and matches sticker on there for you. I lost you there. I left that on because I thought, I don't know, it looks cool. Basically, the cat hasn't destroyed this one yet. Hopefully he won't, but if he does, we can always break his legs, something like that, I don't know. So, let's begin somewhere, rather than talking and knobbing around all day. This dude here came about because somebody said to me, is infidio any good for automotive lighting and that sort of thing? And I thought, you know what, never really actually properly tried it. So I rigged up a model. I didn't model this myself, but I got the model in there, I textured it and lit it with the completely default settings, and that's how it came out. Really happy. I mean, obviously I've done a bit of Photoshop processing, a little bit of lens flare and colouring to make it look really smart, but that's how it came out, so I'm really chuffed with that. And then sitting on the train, a little bit bored, I got my laptop out and I animated the car to essentially do this. So just while sitting on the train, I animated that. And what all that's happening here is the car is sliding on, boom, like so. And there's a little bit of a tilt. There you go, just to sort of show that it really has suspension, and it stops. But that's all keyframed animation. There's nothing particularly clever going on there. But so I put that together, and then thought, well, I might as well show you kind of what to do and how I did it and that sort of thing. Only we're going to do it today. We're going to do it with this. So I'm going to show you where you can get hold of this model, and we'll do it there. So that's enough rambling, because that's far too much rambling. So let's begin now. Get rid of that. Where are we beginning? Right, first of all, you need to... Oh, look at that. That's ratemyfuneral.com. That's a really cool website. Basically, on Google, I typed in free Cinema 4D car models. Straightforward enough, and there's obviously tons around. Other models are available and all that sort of malarkey, but essentially the one I found was this one here. It said 35 absolutely free car models. Brilliant. So I went to that, and it takes you to this site, and there's a ton of different cool models and cars and stuff on here, but the one that caught my eye was this dude here, because it's a native Cinema 4D format, so it'll be nice and easy for us to play with, and it's a pretty nifty looking car. So I went to that one, and this is made by Edson. It's obviously somebody that only has one name. Now that's really cool in this day and age. Yeah, so this is their model. So I downloaded that, and that's what we're going to do. So grab hold of it. There's a download button there. You can grab that. Then once you've extracted it, go to your folder that it's extracted to, and you've got the Cinema 4D file there. You've got a textures folder, which has got some really useful folders, yes, magical folders that look like images. They're the ones, images, right, in there. And there's some renders that that he's done, which you can see here. Some pretty, that's a sort of after processing, and that's before, and same there, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks good. Marvelous. So that's all good. So let's get this into cinema and begin. Right, this is the first problem we're going to have. Oh, I'll mention this now as well. I'm using R15. Most of everything that I'm going to do here is really backwards compatible. I'm probably going to use the physical, well, I am going to use the physical renderer, which is obviously R13, but most of it will be right. But you're going to get this if you do not have V-Ray plugin and whatnot, because this model has been done using V-Ray. Please excuse me while I drink. That's better. Now, I don't have V-Ray, and I'm not going to be using V-Ray today, so I need to resolve this issue. And this is what you will kind of end up with, and if you hit render on that, you're going to get a load of stuff. Now, I'm not worried about that because I'm just going to retexture it myself, and that's what we're going to do today for a little bit of fun anyway. So I am literally going to have a look at this. Right, so let's start. No, let's just literally, I'm just going to delete all of these. So I'm highlighted them all and deleted them, and there you go. We now have our car there. So that's fine. You can see it there, and it's in this folder here. So before we go too much further, I'm just going to save this as a copy. So I'm going to do save as, and I'm going to do this one as my version. Let's give it a number as well so that we can increment it should we want to. Right, cool. Okay, so now we're not going to mess with the original file anymore. We're only playing with our own version. Okay, so if we expand our Lamborghini, we can see that there's all the different parts, and I'll tell you, this is good. You don't often see this, but this guy's put a lot of effort into this, and all of these bits are actually named, which is really, really useful. So that's great. We're going to do a little bit of moving around in here just to make the animating a little bit easier. But let's start by sort of going through and seeing what we've got here. One of the things I do want to do fairly early on is just divide the car up into car and wheels, because those I want to be able to move independently. So if we look here, we can go right down to about there, and all of that is car. So I'm going to press Alt and G with those highlighted, and that's that. I'm going to rename the null to body. Okay, so now we've got, what we've got here is that's front right wheel, so that's everything to do with the front right wheel. So we'll just grab all of those and group, and we'll say front right wheel. Should really do it by passenger and near side or whatever, but the one of the things we've got to watch for here is the fact that our center point for this wheel, so this is the wheel we're dealing with, is right down there on the floor. Now that's not going to be a huge amount of use to us down there, because when we come to animate, if we want to rotate that wheel, it's going to turn like that, and that wouldn't be right. So let's undo that a minute and fix this. So quite easy to do. Let's go into the 4 views. And we'll use this one here. We'll just zoom that one in a bit. I'm not sure. Oh, it's tiny. Look, there we go. Now we can see that one a little bit better. And we'll come from the top view over here. There it is. Right. Okay. So let's move the position of this axis. So we're just going to change to this, which is the axis modification tool, and let's go up here. And we'll go across here and get it around about in the center of the wheel. Now we want it actually in the center. We don't want it on the edge there, because if you think about how an alloy works, it's probably slightly in. It's where the hub would connect to the wheel, is where we want this axis point. So it's very important that it is dead central. So what we can do is just move that down and just make sure that's right in the middle of that emblem. Like so. Cool. Okay, so that's that one done. So this one now is front left, so we'll do the same thing again. Front left wheel. And we're still in the axis modification tool, so we'll just grab that and we'll move that up to about the right place, there and there. And once again, we just move this one. As long as you haven't moved the main car, that should be pretty much spot on there. And the back wheels can both be together. That's fine, because we don't need to turn those independently. So group, and we'll call them back wheels. And we need to do a similar sort of thing, in as much as we need to move that to the back, and we also need to raise it up. Okay, and then we can see in there we just hit S and that sort of centers us on that, so we can just put that as close as damn it into the right place. There we go. And we also want that to be sat approximately in the middle. It's not hugely important, but that's fine. Okay, there we go. So that's a little bit of prep that we've done there. It's not a huge amount because it was a really good job anyway. We haven't got to rename things and work out what bits are what, because you may have to find what bits are what and rename them. So let's just save that and disable our access modification tool, and we'll go back. I tell you what, actually, let's just check where the, yeah, so our body, that we need to do that as well, look, because you see the body is down the bottom here. So I want the body to be on around about the same position as the wheels where it pivots from, and what I'll do is I'll zoom in here and I want to line that up. I don't know if you saw that just then, but you can just see, there it is, there's the badge, so I'm just going to line it up from that. And like I say, I just want it about level with the front wheels, where they would be joined, so about there should be fine. And we can just put it roughly in the center. There we go. Okay, finally I am going to grab all of those, group those like that, double click that one, copy the name, Control C, copy that into there, Control V, drag that out and just delete that null. The reason I did that was because it's put the axis center point in the same place as the body, and at the center of all the wheels, so it's just a bit easier than lining up that last one. Right, okay, so we are now ready to start creating some textures and getting them on this beastie. So let's literally just work our way through it. So we'll start on the body, and we have black plastic. So this is all the bits of black plastic around the car, so I'm just going to create a very simple texture for that. Double click down the bottom, create new texture, and go in here and choose a color. So I want this to be pretty much black. I'm going to turn off specular. Actually, I'm going to leave specular on, and just make it a little bit taller and turn it right down, so down to about 18. It's only subtle then. There we go. So reflection, I'm going to pull that right back to about 12 and add a Fresnel and pull that right back to about there. These numbers, I'm making them up. You do not have to copy them exactly. You go with what you think looks about right. To me, that looks like cool shiny black plastic. Job's done. Okay, so we put that right. We've got a couple of ways. We can just dump it straight on the thing. That works. Or because there was a texture on here, because he had gone to the trouble of putting the texture on, if you have V-Ray and all of that, but we're going to place that onto that texture. There we go. And that way it's got his configuration that he did, which in this case is none, but that's fine. Right, so next is Windows. So we need something nice and clear. Now I'm going to start simple here, because this is a very difficult thing to tell until you do the final sort of rendering. So I'm just going to turn on transparency, I'm going to turn off color because that improves render time, turn off specular, turn on reflection, go to transparency and just pull that back just a little bit, something like that. There we go, that's fine. That will work for the car window glass. There we go. That's fine. Right, cool. There is a file we can use for this as well. If we look in our textures, it comes with this Windows PNG image, which is like this. Now, I think, if I remember rightly, I actually opened this up in Photoshop and literally used the magic wand tool, selected all the parts and deleted them so that it was transparent with black like that. I then saved that as Windows 2. Now the way I did this, if I remember rightly, was literally drag this into the project. Yes, we can create a copy, that's fine. Go into the texture that we've made, it's assigned it to the color. But what I want to do is go into alpha, turn on that, and use bitmaps Windows 2. That's the one I've just used, and then that gives me that. And perhaps maybe put a little bit of reflection on that, just like so. And I think I may, yeah, that just sits perfectly. That's UV mapped perfectly. So you just put that on there, and then what you end up with is darkness. I'll tell you what, it's because I'm doing it in his setup. So I need to go to standard. Because I'm not sure what clip settings he's got, if you're ever unsure, just literally take a copy of the model, go File, New, place it there. Following textures are not in the current project folder. Do you want to change them to absolute paths? New. And then I'm going to save as and do this as my version. Replace it. There we go. So now we should have, there we go, we've got ordinary settings, so we can kind of see what's going on a bit here. Now, one of the problems that we've got straight away is our Windows thing has gone a bit funky around the edges. If I remember correctly, under alpha, if we turn off soft and then put on invert, that should fix that. Yep, there we go. Right, so we've got Windows and we've got that. Now, obviously, in the final version, we want to tint this up a little bit, but like I said, I'm just going to keep it simple. So let's name these as we go along. So we'll call this window detail, and we'll call this clear glass, and we'll call this black plastic. Okay, brilliant. Now let's continue on. So mirrors, that's an easy one. Double click, go into the thing, turn off color, turn off specular, press reflection. Job's done. There's a mirror. Mirror. Okay, and we assign that to the mirrors. Black plastic, no MS. Now I don't know exactly what that means. No doubt you're possibly screaming at me now to tell me what it does mean, but I don't know. So if you're unsure of what a part is, here's a handy hint. If you hide the whole car and then just drag the item out of the system, you can then see exactly what that bit is. So this is the underside of the car. Okay, so this is fine. I maybe think that this wouldn't be shiny though, so I'm just going to make a copy of my black plastic, and I'm going to, yeah, turn off the reflection. That's fine. That little bit of specular on there is fine. It's kind of making it look dark. So we'll do that one, and we'll put that back in the body, and we'll turn the car back on. Cool, and we carry on. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to hide the windows. That makes it a bit easier just to see in there. Emblem. Right, so this is the logo on the front. He's provided us a texture for that. So all we do is drag that in, create one there. Sure, why not? Create a copy. And we can just dump that straight on there, and bang, UV perfectly. I will just do a bit of tweaking to this, but only very, very slight. Little bit of Fresnel and reflection on there, never 13 though. And turn off the specular. There we go, that's a nice looking emblem. Cool. Okay, glass red. So this is our rear lights. So fine, okay, so let's make a copy of our clear glass, and we'll go into there, go to the transparency, and we'll change the color of that to a kind of red. And we'll make it slightly more transparent and a lot less reflective, like so. And then, just to give this a good little look, we'll go into bump channel. We'll do a noise, and let's put that right down. It only wants to be something like maybe 3, and go into there, choose something like Luca, global scale down to about 10 perhaps, and maybe just make it so it's not quite so harsh, something like that, and then put that onto our glass. Just have a quick look. Obviously texturing you can never do 100% when the scene isn't lit, but in this case, yeah, it's all right. Okay, so chrome, it's not dissimilar to the mirror, so I'm just going to create a new texture. And the way I do chrome is I turn on reflection, but just pull it back just slightly like that, because it wouldn't be 100%. Maybe put a Fresnel on it, but again, only slightly. And in the presets for specular, just stick that on metal. Maybe just drop that back just a little bit. There we go. So it's a little bit different from mirror. Not a lot, but just gives us a little bit of difference. Red glass, there we go. Okay, and that's logo. Okay, so chrome, we'll put that on there. That gives us all our cool looking chrome bits. So that's looking nifty. Glass for the engine. Not sure for this. Let's just put glass on there. There we go. Now the engine itself, it's going to be a kind of dark grey, I would guess. Don't want to leave it obviously like that. But just for now, let's just put the chrome on there. Because imagine it's very, very shiny and polished up. And yeah, there we go, fine. Right, car paint. This one's really important. This is the actual colour of the car itself. Now, I struggle because most Lamborghinis are yellow and whatnot, but I went with a kind of orange for my one because it just looks pretty cool. So I'm going to aim for a kind of burnt orange. So colour, let's pull the green back to about halfway and the blue right down. And that gives us a pretty cool looking burnt orange about there. Something like that. There we go. And obviously specular, I'm just going to turn that right down. I'm not really too interested in that, but this is an important one. Reflection for now, and just pull that back a bit and take that down. You want a nice, because this has been polished. This has been polished to within an inch of its life, so it's lovely. I'm rabbiting now. Stop talking, bro. Blurriness. I'm just going to add 1%. That's all I'm going to add to that. 1% of blurriness, and put that on the car paint. And there we go. You've got yourself a very orange-looking car, which isn't lit yet, so it looks a bit ropey. But anyway, so headlights, glass. Again, I'm going to make a tinted version that's slightly more tinted than it's going to be. So I'm just going to go into here, transparency, and put that color down to about no. Oh, oops, that's green. What am I doing? It's my reflection. I need to pull no color. Right, what have I done here? Someone's going to have to help me. Right, because I don't know what I've done. I'm just going to delete that one and make a new one. Because normally, I'm pretty sure you go to transparency and you just choose a darker color. Huh. What have I done? What am I doing wrong here? Am I being stupid? 100%? Okay. Maybe that's a bit closer. Don't follow this one exactly. Just maybe play with it until you find what you think is about right. Maybe that is. Just try changing the shape to a cube. No, what was that? Well, what's the shape I like? Rounded cube, GI. Yeah. Soft shadow. No, yeah. Take the transparency down a little bit. There we go. Right. Yeah, I didn't choose this one because you get this line through, so it kind of gives you a better idea. Right, that's fine. Okay, let's call that tinted glass. So this is going to be for our headlights. Bang. Cool. Yep, no, that's fine. Okay, blinkers. Blinkers. These are these little dudes on the side. I've no idea. What do we reckon? Let's. They're probably going to be a clear glass, aren't they? So let's just make a copy of our red glass, but we'll change the colour to white, so it keeps the bump detail in there, and do some of no, this isn't looking right. Cancel that one as well. I seem to be struggling with my transparent textures today. What do I want? I want a frosty whiteness, really, don't I? Let's create another new one. Okay, so bump, noisy. Let's go with Luca and put that up a bit. And global scale, something like 20. reflection, a bit of that, transparency, a bit less. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. That'll do for now. If it's a blinker, if it's no good, then we'll change it later. But it should be alright. Blinker. There we go. Okay, car paint black. Well, that's self-explanatory. We've got a black plastic. Let's just use that. That's that from it. Okay, glass back. Glass black. This is black glass. Right. Okay, so we'll use our tinted glass for that. Glass orange. So that's, look, that's the bulb inside of the blinker there. Look. So let's make that luminance. Pull back that green and do that. Something like this. Color, turn that down. Pull back that luminance a little bit. Put that color. Do something like that. There we go. That's fine. That's going to be our orange glass. I know it's not clear, but it doesn't really need to be. Look how tiny that is. Right. Okay. Cool. Chrome. We've got chrome. We can put that straight on there. Interior silver. So this is like depending. So I'm just going to go for not dissimilar to this one. So we just turn on reflection. Pull that right down. For now, you're getting the idea here. I'm pretty sure by now. We'll just go into the blues and just go something like that, and that's maybe not quite so much, just a little bit less, just to try and get a bit of silver there. I don't want it too reflective, and the specular, we'll turn that right down. All right. Interior silver. There we go. Bum bum. That looks pretty cool. Gauges, so I'm going to use the same one for those. Screen. What happens if we put black plastic on that? Yep, no, that's fine. Chrome squares. Now this is something else that I think, if we press S, it takes us to them. Is that them in there? I think that's these. Yeah, it's those there. Look. So again, squares. I didn't actually use these the first time, but I found them afterwards. So let me just I'll try this real time. Sure, why not? And just put that on there. Yeah, that seems to do the trick. I think they'll be all right like that. Fine. Interior dark. So interior dark. This is all the leather and everything. Right. Okay. So we need to create a leather. Okay. So the leather. Let's create a new texture. Right. Let's see. So for color, let's stick a layer on there. We're going to use a couple of bits here, an effect, a shader, that's the one, and something like noise, and I want something maybe like that, global scale, let's put that right down even, yeah, about 5%, cool, okay, and then go back to color. In our layer, I want to add another, not an image, not the right button, a shader for now, something like that. Put that to the bottom. Let's just soften this up a little bit, something like that. So we're creating a interesting looking one there. Set that to multiply so that merges together. Right, okay, it's not looking quite right yet obviously, but we can now add a diffusion. We want to put on there a noise, that's right, and then go into the noise. Let's go for Luca. Yep. Let's go for that, and let's put this right up. Okay, so that's much bigger. Cool. Okay. Let's just swap these around a moment. Let's see if that. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Next, just check this affect luminance. I want this to affect luminance, so we'll turn that on. Okay, and let's just tone that down a little bit. There we go. Just a little subtle thing. Luminance. Yep, we'll add that, but we are only adding like a little bit of that just to kind of go through effects lumas. Okay, something like that. Let's go in here a minute. So specular 1, let's tone this right down, make it maybe a bit bigger, not so much glare. Yeah, that's alright. Let's turn that on. Planar, something like that. Maybe shrink that back. Put that one up. Put you down. Kind of just, I'm trying to remember kind of the way I did it before. Yeah, no, that should do that one. Right, we'll add a bump. Again, we want to do a noise. Go into that one, something like knacky. Yep. Make that a bit less, maybe 300, something like that. Yeah. Check specular. What have I done in here? Let's add a noise here. Shrink that down. Something like that. I only really want the specular to be subtle. Change the colour of it. So make it a little bit warmer. There's something I'm kind of missing here though that I did last time that I've totally forgotten. Maybe it's another colour. Just set that to a kind of dark. Yeah, something like that. And then in our layers, and then multiply that. Or is it screen it? No, multiply. Let's just try a few of these. Yeah, no, that's fine. I think maybe there's too much lumas. There we go. We'll just pull those back a little bit. There we go. Okay, well that's just a ton of random stuff in there just to make a kind of leatheriness. So we'll call that leather. That's interior dark. Boom. Yeah, boy, that's looking pretty good. Okay, interior black, so let's use our black shiny. See, we've got most of what we need now. Interior dark, so we'll use our black non-diny. And silver, we need a grey that isn't shiny, so we'll do a duplicate of the interior one, and again we'll just switch off the reflective interior no shine, something like that. Right, okay. And put that on there. Lens, I don't know what lens is. Oh, it's headlights. Oh, obviously. For this we need to make a nice luminance one. maybe with a little bit of reflection on it. Not a lot, because this is a headlight, so you can't really see it anyway, so that's fine. And we'll dump that in there like that. That's cool. Silver. I think that should be chrome. I'm going to make that chrome. Glass. And that's just that little bit there, so let's make that like the blinker. Number plate. Where is the number plate? Oh yeah, look, it's there. Okay. So you're going to want to put a number plate on there most likely, but we'll just create a quick yellow, reflective, Fresnel, ba-bam, specular, right, and that's our number plate there. Okay, so we are getting there. We've almost got a car ready to rock and roll with. Okay, so let's just have a quick look. Perfect, perfect. Let's shrink the body down. So we now need to do the wheels. So let's start with the front left wheel, because we can see that and see what we need to do. Now this is the center in the middle there, so I'm going to make that chrome, so it's shiny. Then the logo, we've done that one, so we just put the logo on there. Caliper, so that needs to match the car, so we'll make that orange. And then you've got this lovely caliper details, so we'll make that black. The disc brake itself, there is a disc brake image there, so we could dump this into the scene. How could we do this? I'm not really sure. I'm just going to make it, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Just going to make it really reflective, and set the bump channel to be that same image, and pull that down a little bit. Let's just turn on the good old fashioned Fresnel and pull that back a little bit. There we go. And we'll just drop our specular. Okay. And if we put that onto our calipers, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's looking pretty nifty. So brake center. So this is what behind the brake, is it? No, that's the disc. Brake center. Ah, so that's the hub in there. So maybe go with let's go with our chrome for that. No, actually, do you know what? No, I'm going to go with my black. There we go. And the rim itself, I want them to be black, so same shiny blackness. And the tyre, now again, we have a tyre sidewall there. So what I'll do is I'll just bump that in there. And I'm just going to modify this a little bit. So we have a slightly bigger specular, wider, and just let's leave it at that for the moment and see how that's looking. Yeah, I think that might be a bit too bright, so it's close, but I don't like how bright that is, so I'm just going to hop into here. So let's turn on the bump map and set the tyre sidewall to that, and also drop that back a little bit. And in here, tyre sidewall, so we can make this a layer. Go in there and do effect brightness. This might not be what I wanted to do, actually, thinking about it. No, I didn't want a brightness. Okay, remove that. How did I do this before? Image. No, not image. Shader. Color. Black. Go back one. Multiply. No. Screen. Overlay. Right. That wasn't how I did it either. Okay, what did I do? Let's try for now underneath. Was this what it was? I think it might have been it. Let's just make a loose for now like that, and that then. Yeah, there we go. Then our we've got writing on our tires, but it's not too over the top now, so that's fine. Cool. Okay, and let's just check that specular is probably a bit high, really. There we go. Right. Cool. Fine. So that's that wheel done. So we need to do the same thing to the other wheels. So let's quickly whip through these. Okay, brake disc. I did the brake disc one for. Caliper, did the orange. Caliper detail, I did the black. Brake center, I did black. Rim center, I did that as chrome. Logo. The rim itself, I did as the black. The tire, I did as the tire. Okay. And back wheels. Right. Let's just quickly whip through these. Right. Okay. Rim center. What did I do? Yep. I did that one. Rim logo. Caliper. Details. Disc, brake center, black, rim itself, and tire, rim logo, rim, saying rim too much here actually, thinking about it. I don't think I should be saying rim as much as I am. Details. Oh, we can say details. That's fine. Brake center, rim center, and tire. Right. Cool. There we go. And that's the whole thing textured. And it looks like, because of the length of time that took us, this is going to end up being a 2-part tutorial. Okay. So now. This is the interesting bit, because obviously if we hit render on that, it doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, this is a really good model. And at this point I want to light it. So as I always say, you can light it yourself, you can set up your own lights and do whatever, but just to save time, I'm going to use my Infidio Pro. So we'll just dump that into the scene. It's obviously sitting a little bit high. I'm not sure about the scaling, so I'm just going to zoom out. So as the scale in the car is pretty small, so I'm just going to grab the car and make it a bit bigger, because I want these reflections to be nice, and this will save me having to resize them. So Infidio Pro, we just need to shrink down a little bit. Let's just think if our camera is going to be sat in the middle here. This is where it's going to want to be. Okay. Oops. Let's just move it down. I'm going to try and eyeball it. I'm just going to turn on grad with lines, and then you can kind of see where the floor is. There we go. Right. Cool. Okay. So let's get our camera into an approximately right place. So it's about there. And then I'm just going to grab the car, turn it a bit. Okay, and position it there. Now this is something that I always do. Just turn off these lines here. Is that I always lower cars because I think it looks better. So what I will do is just literally drop the wheels out of the system and lower the car. Cool. And then I'm going to put the wheels back in the system. There we go. That might be sacrilege, but I just think it looks so much better. And now I can grab the front wheel there, press R, and if I turn that, you see I can turn the wheel properly now. You can set up an xpresso so that wheels follow, but if you just hold down Shift, you can turn them in degrees. So if I put it to 30 degrees and I grab the left wheel and I also turn that 30 degrees, they both turn the same amount. It does still seem to be slightly, there we go. So we'll just move that. Okay. And literally let's just hit render and see how that's looking. So off the bat, that's looking pretty good. We can do some things where we move the lighting to get the reflections sitting a little bit better. The window I don't like because it doesn't kind of look like there's any glass in there. So I want to put a bit of a tint in there. There is an issue with the way this is obviously really slow, so this is why I normally change to the physical renderer about now. So let's go ahead and do that. Just want to see what it is looking like. I mean, generally that's looking pretty cool. Okay, so let's go and turn on ambient occlusion, because I like that. You don't have to, but I like it. And I'm also going to put the physical renderer on and turn it to progressive. And while we're here, we'll just turn on depth of field because we're going to use that in a minute. I think infidio still needs to be dropped like a pixel. There we go. Right. And we'll create a camera in our current position. Let's make it, say, a 50mm. Make sure that we're in the camera. And just zoom that out a little bit. Maybe drop it and turn it just a touch. And the way I like to do this is the focus object. I just, not infidio, front right wheel. I just dump the front right wheel in there. And maybe put this down to about 1.2, as if we've got a nice expensive lens. And let's just hit go on that. So that's already looking much better. I'm still not liking the headlight, but that's looking pretty damn nifty. Not headlight, the glass. Let's see. Let's fix this glass. So clear glass here. I want to put a tint on that, so I'm going to just add a bit of grey to it. Although that's gone all that reflective weirdness again. So let's just open that up. Reflection. We can put that down a bit, something like that. Right, let's just have a quick look. Right, no, something's not quite right here. I think it might be the way our texture is actually done. So we had this and this. So let me just turn these round and see if that makes a difference. Because I think what's happening is that it's not using this. Let's just take the window detail off a second and just see what the difference is. None. Okay, so let's take the glass off a second and see what the difference is. Right, I must be missing. Oh my goodness me, Rory! Ha! Do you remember I switched this off earlier? You've probably just been shouting that at me this whole time. Well, yeah, of course, because you switched it off. Look, suddenly, there it is. Oh, and look how much better it suddenly looks. And I didn't need to tint it quite as much. So let's go back into our glass. Put the reflective brightness up again and just put this back up just a touch. Maybe slightly less. And let's just have a really quick look. What a plum. No, see, no. See, something's still wrong. That's now grey, and I think it's because, again, it's using that. If I delete that a moment. No, that's still grey. Oh, what am I doing wrong here? I'm not having a good day with glassy textures. Right, undo. Let's get that frame thing back there. Let's check this. So that's fine, and we've got our alpha on there, and it's a bit reflective. That's fine. Yep, okay. Our glass. Let's just put that to black a minute. Let's just hit render. I just want to see what this actually looks like. Right, so that's just pure black. So that's no use to anyone. So we turn the reflective down. Transparency, texture. What happens if we put a gradient on there? Ah, maybe this was what I did. Okay, I think this might have been what I did. I made a shape like this. Maybe not so much. with a bit of greys on the side, and maybe this is a lighter grey, something like that. This is looking more like it. Yes, there we go. It's a little bit dark, but I think now we can just is it multiply? No, it definitely isn't that. I think the brighter we make it, the clearer, yeah, the clearer it becomes. So we just tweak these up a little bit. There we go. Right, we've now got some tinted windows going on. Cool, fine. So on the texture, I just made a gradient. Wonderful. Right. And just quickly, obviously there's no lighting at the back, so this won't look quite right, but just out of curiosity, how's the back end looking? Obviously very dark, like I say, there's no lighting. If we just really quickly go into infidio, let's turn on the floor reflection, because that's always going to look good. Ramp that up quite a bit, maybe put on a blur. Go to the lighting and rotate all lighting. We can just spin that right around here quickly. And bang, we've lit the back of it now. Yeah, and the back's looking good. Yeah, the rear clusters are actually looking pretty good indeed. Cool. Okay. So, let's put the lighting back to where it was. And our camera, we can press Control, Shift and Z and undo the movements to that and put that back. There we go. Right, now, that is probably about it for this half of the tutorial, I think. Yeah, I'll do it as a separate tutorial where we actually animate the car and have it speeding into the scene. Because now that we've got it there, it's all ready. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long, but I'll do it as a separate tutorial because this one is getting on a little bit anyway, and I wanted to try and get it a bit shorter. So, yes, there we go. I'll leave that rendering for the minute while I sum up. Yeah, so that's the end of the first part. We have our car rendering, and we can now take that car, animate it, do some bits and pieces with it. We're not going to do anything silly complicated. We're not going to set up suspension, proper suspension or anything like that. We're not going to do that. We're just literally just going to make it give us a nice simple animation quickly. Like I say, I did that, the mini one, I did that on a train. So on a laptop, on my lap, going like this. Anyway, right, end this now. Let's stop talking. Right, I'll see you in the next half.